Hey, what's up? My name is Jonathan Fink. Welcome to my audiobook series. We will continue with my first fictional novel, The Republic Baseball League, Volume 1, Chapter 11, The Empowerment of Direct Democracy. Thanks for joining me. Please like if you enjoy it, and please subscribe. Chapter 11, The Empowerment of Direct Democracy. It was one of those rare days when Professor Dempsey left for work before Sarah. He arrived on campus very early and may have been the first person in the building. He went to his office and spent a couple of hours grading the assignments his students recently handed in. He was impressed. These were bright kids who appeared to grasp economic concepts quickly. Then he headed to the library to continue research on his PhD thesis. He felt like he was making progress and wanted the good vibes and the momentum to continue. About 2 hours later, he was off to his political economy class. On his way to the lecture hall, Dempsey wondered if his students would appreciate the significance of the baseball jersey he chose to wear this morning. It was a white Jackie Robinson Brooklyn Dodgers jersey with his now famous number 42 on the back. Robinson broke the color barrier in 1947 when he became the first African American in the modern era to play baseball in the major leagues. If it were not for Jackie Robinson, baseball legends like Hank Aaron, Frank Robinson, and Willie Mays may never have made it to the big leagues. Dempsey entered the lecture hall and was surprised to see that he was not the only person wearing a baseball jersey. To his complete astonishment, every student in the class was wearing one. Rachel wore a white Kansas City Royals Brett Phillips jersey with blue trim. Corey wore a black and yellow Wichita State jersey. And RJ wore a white pinstripe Iowa Cubs jersey. Unbeknownst to Dempsey, Rachel had organized a pilgrimage to the barbershop over the weekend, and every student in the class purchased a baseball jersey. Mo Franklin had to be pleased with his good fortune and would, no doubt, thank Dempsey the next time he was in the store. Dempsey, thrilled with their cleverness, smiled and told his students that he loved their outfits. Then Dempsey opened his laptop to the topic of the day, direct democracy. He told the class that a direct democracy system is a pure form of democracy in which the electorate decides on policy initiatives without legislative representatives as proxies. This differed from the majority of currently established democracies, which were representative democracies, where people voted for representatives who then enacted policy initiatives on behalf of its citizens. Dempsey noted that in a direct democracy, the people decide on policies without any intermediary. Depending on the particular system, this might entail passing executive decisions, making laws, and even directly electing or dismissing officials. He said that such an arrangement was still a democracy with regional representatives just like our current system, but the political format gave even more power to the people to establish policy and make decisions that affected the economy. Dempsey continued his lecture saying that Switzerland was a good example of a modern era direct democracy with citizen lawmaking. During the past 120 years, more than 200 initiatives have been put to referendum vote there. The populace had proven to be conservative, approving only about 10% of these initiatives. Another modern-day direct democracy exists within the Crow Nation, a Native American tribe located in Montana. The tribe established a general council formed of all voting age members with the authority to create legally binding decisions through referendums. Corey raised his hand to make a comment, and Dempsey gave him the floor. Corey said, "Direct democracy gives more power to the people. It's got a real libertarian feel to it. I love it. Imagine a world where everyone could vote directly from their mobile devices using blockchain technology. The voting system could be safe, secure, and more importantly, transparent. Rachel raised her hand and added, "Imagine a world where citizens could remove governors, mayors, or judges with the vote from their phones or laptops." RJ chimed in, "I can imagine a world where citizens could propose the removal of an unjust law easily and quickly." Following up on these thoughtful comments, Dempsey pondered aloud, "Can you imagine a professional baseball league that was governed by a direct democracy system? Fans would have the power that is now held by owners and the league commissioner. For example, the fans could vote to reject new rule changes that adversely affect the integrity of the game. They could even vote on the length of the player suspensions after a bench-clearing brawl, or for the use of performance-enhancing drugs." To conclude the class, Dempsey told his students that he had completed his review of their written assignments, and the grades were available on his university website. Then he gave another assignment, a thought piece describing how they would manage a baseball league using direct democracy concepts. Finally, he thanked them for their baseball jersey surprise. Rachel, Corey, and RJ walked out of the lecture hall together. Rachel said to them, "Professor Dempsey wore a Jackie Robinson jersey today. So cool." Corey replied, "He's got to be the best professor ever." End of chapter 11. Up next, we'll read chapter 12, The Philosophy of Conscious Capitalism. My name is Jonathan Fink. I hope you're enjoying this audiobook series. Many more chapters and books to come. I appreciate each and every one of you from joining me. And as always, God bless.
This month, we have some great sports card stories from across the U.S. and talk to an author from nearby Leawood, Kansas, who has written a book about returning to collecting after 3 decades away.
My day job is I'm a financial advisor, so I've been investing for over 20 years. In a way to express my love for the hobby, I decided, what if I write an investment book, Sports Card Collectors Club, and treat the stock market the same way I would treat the card market. And so I thought, well, how would a day trader invest in cards? How would a venture capitalist buy and sell cards? How would a hedge fund do it? As I would go through my trials and tribulations, I realized that for as much fun as I was having investing, there was something missing. And one day I was watching the Royals game on television, and it was a rain delay. And the Car Life television show came on. I was watching that episode, I was watching Matt Strom open cards and rip packs, and I started getting the warm, fuzzy feeling. I said, this is what I want to be doing. I want to get back to really collecting and ripping cards and building sets. And that's where the story of my book has a change. I go from investing back to collecting.
I'll also open a variety of boxes from different sports. So he hit the home run off me in like the 7th inning. And then in the 8th inning, JT hit a double, so he's standing on second. And Mason Wynn asked him, he's like, "Hey JT," he's like, "I heard Strom collects cards of guys that take him deep." He's like, "Does that mean he's gonna send me over a couple cards to sign tomorrow?" And after the game, we had won. I mean, winning is the only thing that's important to me. So it's like, I was good after the game, whatever, and JT comes up to me and he's like, "Hey Stromy," he was really genuine. Like he wasn't taking shots. And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, when I got to second, Mason asked if you're gonna send a card over for him."
I'm just looking around my basement here, just walls covered with concert posters and toys, and just like, I have no intention of selling these things. I collect because I want to show off the things I love and do it in fun ways. And it just never crossed my mind that, hey, I'm going to go buy this thing just so I can resell it. Like that to me isn't a pure collector mentality. And obviously things change and times change. And, in order for things to survive right now, you have to have that sort of chase for something valuable.
Yeah, it needs to be a circus. You know what? The truth is, I actually watched the live stream on eBay Live with Ken Golden and Logan Paul. They ripped a box of 86 Flair and a box of Series 1 Pokemon. And you know what? It was very entertaining. They're both polarizing characters. I thought it was entertaining. But you know what? After every pull, they immediately are showing the value. And and it begs the question, are we creating, not we, is the industry creating a gambling culture which has a real downside?
It already has. Right.
Not
created. It's here.
Yeah, and
That's what breaking is.
that's a concern. I guess for me, I hope to be an influence where we focus more on collecting, because you know what, when markets crash, collectors don't get hurt at all. Because the Sandy Koufax you bought that because it makes you feel good. It brings back good memories.
Said this one traded for my first big win. Jonathan Fink on the line tonight.
You have created community, so let's talk about that. I went to Rip Night at your shop. Let's rip another pack. And I went to your Rip Night 2 years ago, and it was one of the best. I wrote about it in volume 1. It was one of the best times I've ever had. You guys had this giant scoreboard where you had the chase cards, and everyone can buy whatever product you wanted, like buy 3 get 1 free, whatever product, whatever it was. You then, if you pull a Bronny James, you then get another blaster. Or I pulled a Reed Shepherd auto, and then I got a free T-shirt. And I sat around the table with strangers and had the best time ever. So let's talk about how important community is, and what you guys do is provide an anchor for community in our town. How important that is.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, one of our taglines, we say we'll make an offer on anything, but like you said, I mean, we got to pay what it's worth, and so if it's junk wax, it's going to be junk wax prices, which unfortunately, a lot of people end up thinking that their 87 Tops Barry Bonds is going to be a couple $100 or something.
It's worth nothing, people.
Brand and notoriety. And so when you're pitching these stories to these athletes, like I've reached out to a couple of different athletes about writing a potential article about their collections and having them kind of share their story. And it's like, yes, like I write for collectibles on SI, which is under the Sports Illustrated umbrella. It does carry weight. Like it does. People recognize that brand. It is important. And so I'm super grateful that I've been given the opportunity to write for that staff.
The top segment that was done by you on you was so well produced, right? Did all that come from the conversation you had with Michael Rubin? Is that how that put you on the map to such an extent that all those opportunities happened? How did that happen? Did you get a call one day?
Said this one traded for my first big win. Jonathan Fink on the line tonight with a pack in hand and a story that bites.
I didn't even collect when I was 3 years old, like when this card came out, but you just pulled a good one. Roman Anthony, from Dempsey, I love Wichita State. Yeah. I would have been thrilled if he went to Tulane, but his parents have roots in Nebraska. So for him, it was coming home. And so Nebraska got a good one. And so I'm not surprised that program's on the rise, because they got a great stadium, they have great resources, they got a great fan base with people like you, and their recruiting is fantastic. They're finding the talented kids. So
yeah, in fact,
the Big Ten.
So yeah, Will Bolt, the head coach, he actually played at Nebraska when I was traveling with the Nebraska team in the late '90s. He was down at Texas A&M when I worked at Texas A&M. Rob Childress is the pitching coach, and I was on the hiring committee that hired him away from Nebraska to come down at Texas A&M, and they're thrilled that he's back here in Nebraska. He's a genius. The number of players in pro ball right now that went through Rob Childress, so he'll be under good guidance when he gets up here to Nebraska. They're good people.
One kid found a mantle in the rain. One old friend came back with the same old chain.
Talk to me about the reaction of the players, the other players, when they see this bat putter. Are they flipping out? They freak out when they see it?
When they see it, and they're like, they just stop. Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
So the reason why I asked that question is because I had that experience literally yesterday. So when I first got the bat putter, I think I bought it 6 months ago, and it's customized for the Republic Baseball League, which is so cool. And now that I realize, now that I love it so much, and I got to use it yesterday, I'm like, I got to start buying them for different people. Like anyone's a guest on my show, they're gonna get a bat putter, okay? Yeah. But the point is, I never use it because I thought it was too sacred to me. I keep it in my office like a sacred shrine. It means so much to me. But then I was like, after watching all these videos and stuff like that, I'm like, you know what? There's this indoor amazing place in Kansas City called Tap-Ins. Okay, they have an outdoor putt, but also indoor. And depending on the weather, the whole thing, it's an amazing atrium, and it's become a successful business. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? That's a perfect. It was a hot day. I'm like, it's a perfect thing to do. So my buddy Paul Greenwood, who I featured in my first book, we went and played around. And when I showed up with this bat putter, people were freaking out. They were literally losing their minds, and that's when I realized. So then, and then by the way, it was a Sunday, middle of the day, hot as heck. I want to see how it gets made, but you probably do actually.
I want to see if there's quality control testers there.
But attention! If anyone at the Tops is watching, Grip and Rep we want to get invited to a tour at a factory. The two of us.
I told them I would work for free.
Right.
I would work absolutely free. I want to see how their stuff's made.
Yeah, I'm curious. But like correlation is like I'm sure there's a bunch of engineers that sit around and design.
Got some breaking news for you.
Yeah.
Slab just texted me.
No way. What do you say? The numbers
Looks
are
like
out?
this is the first year to hear it. Who is that?
Right.
Let me see here.
Breaking news. Grip and Rep. Breaking news.
Oh, U.S. agent. Okay, so I just got told that the finest mega boxes are going to be really, really, really good.
Oh, interesting.
1.6 numbered cards a box. So you're guaranteed one numbered card with a 60% chance to pull a second numbered card.
Wow,
and
interesting.
Autos are 1 in 3.
Whoa. So do you think that Topps decided to go big because this is their first year with Topps Finest in retail?
I'm going to say yes. Yes.
Right? Because
I do think so.
You usually get so upset with the delayed numbers, they're delaying them. Or maybe, by the way, I don't know if it's a conspiracy that the odds are coming out later. I just think that maybe they're just not as efficient as they used to be.
You might have watched this game back
I'm sure I did.
Currently,
it's Derek Coleman. Yeah, he was on my fantasy team for sure.
Pretty crazy to think, in the future you would be able to collect that moment that you watched.
Right. And by the way, check that out. It's worth $198 versus the ones that are worth 35 cents because it makes sense. Because the same way that you value your 1964 Willie Mays card, you're going to value your Drazen Petrovic, and you're not going to want to give it up unless it's for a very, very good price because you love that memory. And what's wild is the same way that you get the warm fuzzy feeling with dopamine hit, whatever, when you look at a card on your shelf, it's the same thing. But when you're online at the bank, you don't have your cards with you, Paulie, but you do have your phone, and you can pull up your Drazen Petrovic and pay respect to him and watch a couple of his awesome plays that give you the warm fuzzies because you can. It's wild. And so
This month, we have some great sports card stories from across the U.S. and talk to an author